Howdy folks and welcome. I hope this finds you well. Today we'll be discussing the death of Tarkov. I feel like I must give my credentials for the game before anything else, and why I'm making this video. I first started playing Escape from Tarkov in 2017, and instantly fell in love with the intense nature of its combat, the harsh realities of its realism, and the almost egregiously complicated systems it developed. Let's get this straight. Escape from Tarkov is a good game, or the essence of it is. You wouldn't be here listening to me without that base reason. If it was all rust and junk after 7 years, I don't think anyone would be as mad or disappointed as the community is now. The first reason why I'm making this video is that I feel betrayed. It wouldn't be the first time in my life someone had lied for years and then doubled down, and I can completely understand the hurt and shock the community is feeling. The second reason being is that I never experienced a game like Tarkov, even to this day, and I'm in denial and disbelief at what has transpired. If you're new to the channel, it wouldn't be a Dog Dad video without hearing from you, and I truly want to hear from you, because without your voice, and our collective voice, then what's the point? Escape from Tarkov is over 7 years old, and it's gone through some ups and downs to put it mildly. I started playing before medical animations were implemented, where there were only 4 maps, and being one of the first to go into interchange when it debuted. I always thought that the development would be 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of approach, which I was comfortable with. We would get patches that fixed so many things, but then didn't address glaring issues that had been in the game since its conception. Looking at you, sound design. There would be what felt like eras, like Tarkov eras. Some eras were defined by how good the AI were, scavs would just one-shot you from 100 meters away, and then the next patch they would be more oblivious than Nikita himself. And we'll get there. Anyways, I think a year and a half ago I decided to stop playing regularly. With work commitments in school, I just couldn't play the amount I wanted to, and to be honest, I've gotten into some PvE shooters. I always kept up with Tarkov though, and seeing how Arena was introduced and the type of language that BSG were using around it with its player base, I was getting a little worried. But the vision was still there, right? Now I talk about a vision, but what is that? Honestly, I think Tarkov's vision was to go for a dystopic environmental storytelling coupled with deep plausible lore, all paired with the player navigating this in first person trying to stay alive. There is nothing like it. It is unique. I distinctly remember going into labs when it first came out in offline mode, walking around finding little secrets or stories lying around. The one that first pops into my head is the scientist killed in the elevator. This attention to detail had me invested in Tarkov itself. I wanted to learn more about what had transpired before the evacuation, what Terra Labs had been doing, why the FSB wasn't warned about Terra's capabilities. All these little callbacks in different levels, all the time, the dedication to add these environmental additions that doesn't just happen out of freeform work. There was a vision. Tarkov is supposed to be brutal, and their way of depicting that not only through the narrative but through gameplay is striking and intended. Which is why I think it brought so many people like you and me to this game. How it kept us playing with decent content for 7 years. There was dedication, there was purpose. That's why I think we're all feeling more than hurt about what BSG has just done. When I first supported BSG in 2017, I bought the EOD edition of the game for $150 under the pretense that I would get all future DLC. When the release of Arena happened and EOD owners were not subject to the first wave of entries, I was skeptical to say the least. This is how you give back to the people that supported you for years? I understand supporting newer players as well, but they probably would not have come to fruition without these early adopters. Anyways, this makes me feel uneasy because it felt like the power of EOD was eroding. Not just from a consumer standpoint, but an emotional one as well. I didn't even know what to think when BSG announced that Edge of Darkness Edition would be leaving their digital marketplace. On one hand, I have something unique, but would we be forgotten about? And that was answered this week by the new addition to their marketplace, the Unheard edition. What in the gosh darn Sam hell? So this edition is $250. Let's put that into perspective here. That's about 20 indie titles costing around $10. That's like 1,000 plus hours that you could get. Regardless, this is being sold unironically. Even worse is that the PvE mode is being quoted as accessible to these owners and not EODs, under the pretense that it's a feature, not a DLC. That is straight up malarkey. At the time of writing this, I'm sure BSG is in repair mode. Nikita has posted on Reddit, not really backing down, and there is some interview floating around that sounds horrible. Even if they were to roll back or give EOD owners even a 99% discount, that means you are still paying for the product you were promised before for free. DLC stands for, say it with me, downloadable content. New content. This Unheard edition is a scam as an EOD owner. BSG and Nikita are saying that the PvE mode is not DLC, which was promised for EOD users, instead it's just new features they can sell. This is the final straw. When a company retroactively changes the wording post-sale, you know you're in for a bad time. What were they thinking? Even now, with them doubling down, wouldn't you think if you ran a business that you would take at least a day to breathe and look at it with a new lens? Instead of focusing on, I don't know, anything else like server load, quest design, sound design, you name it, BSG want to trickle features to make more money because at this point, it's a sunken cost fallacy. I don't believe we will ever see Escape from Tarkov released. At least not what was said and shown to us before. A fully open world with merchants, PvP, PvE, random encounters, the works. We'll probably get something along the lines of what we have now, which on its own wouldn't be bad if the game had been released last year and without literally hundreds of thousands of early adopters. What Tarkov is now is honestly sad and a shame. It's the reason why I've gone to other FPS games, PvP, PvE, because at least I know what I'm getting. Even though no game has broken up the Tarkov monopoly fully, it might be the most ironic thing that Tarkov itself implodes and that other games get the spotlight standing on the broken pieces. Even itself. After playing a lot of PvE games on my channel, some people suggested SP Tarkov, and I couldn't be more happy with their recommendation. You can investigate it on your own time, but it does show Tarkov could easily be PvE, and you don't have to pay $250. So, is Tarkov dead? No. There will always be a player base that will be the true believers. But the true Tarkov, the one in our hearts and minds since 2017, that is dead. It's probably been for a while. Look, thanks again for stopping by and listening. I really want to hear your thoughts on the matter. Non-EOD holders, what are your thoughts? Would you buy a 250 edition beta? There are so many questions, honestly, and I don't think we're going to have them all answered. There are silver linings to the story. Check out other games if you don't want to support Tarkov. Help those fledgling communities with positive criticism and good feedback. You'd be surprised how much well-written feedback means to small dev teams, a lot of which are working on these extraction shooters now. If you really enjoyed the video, check out my channel. There's something there for everyone. Please leave that comment, click that like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, see you next time.